Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what I say. Hard work, work, work.
Hey everybody, Mark, Centerline Systems. We're going to do a video on our Y harness. Actually, we shot this video yesterday, but when we were reviewing it last night, we realized there was this weird like kind of something at the very beginning. But my continuity people say these are the clothes I was wearing yesterday. So I'm going to try to bring us up to speed where the video stopped being all robotic, and then we'll just go with the rest of the video. So I do apologize if there's a weird splice here, but Big Spoon will work his technical magic. So the Y harness. So I've had a couple people asking for a video on the Y harness. It's a relatively simple design. You know, there's been Y harnesses for, you know, all kinds of time, right? I mean, in all kinds of different versions. The ultimate intent here though was, so I made it for our Sherpa belt. Now it'll fit other belts, an 1.5 inch belt. The Sherpa is a 1.75. I've even made some slight modifications to the Y harness on request so it'll fit 2-inch and larger belts like battle belts. So if you have that type of belt you're gonna run this with, I can do it. But it is designed for the Sherpa belt, and again, in the video I talk about that. But the ultimate intent here is just to get some of that weight transferred off of your waistline, right? Because you can put a lot of gear on the outside of a Sherpa belt. But I wanted to get some of that weight transferred up onto your shoulders so it's just more comfortable lugging that gear around. And that's what the Y harness is designed to do. So now hopefully, again, Big Spoon will have to do some splices here. And besides, you know, continuity may have said I'm wearing the same clothes, but the weather's not quite the same from yesterday, so it's raining and I don't want to melt. So we'll have a little splice here, and then we'll get into the video we shot yesterday. Hopefully you find it, you know, educational, informative, you know, somewhat entertaining. Well, at least this intro a little entertaining. But all right, we'll splice here in a second. We'll be right back with yesterday's video on the Y harness. All right, stand by, guys. So here, going into the attachment. So again, it's to help get the weight off of your waistline when you're wearing a Sherpa belt. So imagine if you had the Sherpa belt set up and you've got a folding saw pouch, maybe some type of small, like an SSK or a KDC or some other type of survival pouch. And then over on your 3 and 9, you've got like, you know, 2 bottle carriers or 2 mother canteen carriers. You know, that's a lot of weight when these are fully loaded. And then in the back, let's say you had a butt pack or a gear roll or a med pouch. All right, that's a lot of weight. So for me, that's where I want to move some of that weight up onto my shoulders, and that's what the Y harness is designed to do. It's just to help to spread that weight around, right? How it attaches, very simple, right? And every one of the attachment points is adjustable. So this is a really big harness. That's because this is Big Spoon's harness, and Big Spoon ain't no little spoon, right? But this is an extra large, so they do have, I guess that's worth pointing out, they come in 2 different sizes, a standard, which will go for people who are about, you know, 250 and below, up to like maybe 6'1". You know, you get a little bit over that, you know, just give me a call. Either of the systems, the standard or the extra large, they've got all kinds of room for adjustment, because I'm assuming you're wearing this over multiple layers of clothing, all right? So, and then that's what these adjustment points are right here. So this is an ITW ladder lock, all right? They're really secure. Now, if this is too long for you, even on like a standard one, there's a couple different techniques. You could cut it and sew it yourself. If you know what you're doing, I say go right ahead. The only thing I would point out is when you're cutting it, burn it, you know, don't burn yourself. This will be hot. Use a heat knife or burn the webbing. But if you're gonna sew it, you know, fold the webbing back onto itself, right? So there's some companies that do this. We've been doing it from day one because of the things that I grew up with companies who did this. And the reason that's folded is so if it does slip for some reason, that fold catches up on the ladder lock, and I'm yanking on that and I can't pull it through because of the way the webbing is folded on itself. It makes a nice little catch, right? So you could cut it to size. You know, one of the things I would just recommend is make a fold that's just under 2 inches, like about 1.5 inches, and then roll the material up on itself a couple times. You'll end up getting about, you know, 1.5 inches to 2 inches of material, and then just take some tape that down. You could tape it down to the piece of webbing on the back side as well, and that'll just prevent, you know, the webbing from moving around. If you tape it down by itself, you still got the ability to tighten it, and then when you expand it, you know, it's gonna hang up on the highest level. So that's a good technique if you know you're gonna wear it over, like set this up for the max amount of clothing, and then that way when you go to less clothing, you can still draw it tight because you don't need all that slack. All right, So again, I mentioned it's designed for the Sherpa belt. It will work with other belts, but here's how it goes on, right? It's a pretty easy concept, right? Again, dot fasteners, the best fasteners out there. So on our Sherpa belt, we've got these rows of 1-inch webbing, sewn into rows to make loops or MOLLE. You can attach a D-ring through there, or a different piece of gear, such as anything that's got MOLLE. But for the Y harness, you take the harness, you come down on the back side, find the loop. You got to mess around with it, and you got to figure out where you want it to be. And then once you find the loop that you want, either mark that loop with like a Sharpie marker, right, RF or LF for right front, or right front or left front, however you want to do it. Make it a color, something of that nature, or just count the number of loops in. But then you come in from behind it, all the way underneath it, come back over the front, come in through a loop back towards the top, and then snap it in place. And then there it's snapped in place, and now it won't move around on you. You could put, if you're running this on a different type of belt, you could put gear to the left in front of it, and that could help pin it in place. Or you could actually do some tape around the backside, on the left or right, to go ahead and pin it in place as well. All right, all three of the connection points are adjustable. So you got 2 up in the front because it's a Y, and then you got 1 in the rear, right? They're all adjustable. The strap itself is the connection points, the adjustable pieces are 1-inch webbing, 17337, and then the part that's going over your shoulder is 1.5 inches. This is called 55301. And then just like our shoulder straps for the Mother, the Scout, or just our shoulder straps in general, or padded strap wraps as well, we sew 1-inch webbing down the 1.5 inches, and we sew that into a series of loops. So, not to beat a horse to death, because I know we've talked about it, but this allows you to attach other devices, other pouches, here on the strap itself, a carabiner for your gloves, a knife pouch, and I'll pull mine off the side in a second and show you. And then here's just a quick example I did. Now you could weave this in all kinds of different weaves. I just took a whole bunch of cordage and I wove it through one of the shoulder straps of the Y harness. So that way, if I was running a Mother's Canteen or any other piece of gear, I could now free up, some of the space of that pocket that I normally had my cordage in, and now I can put it up here in my shoulder strap, just giving me more space in my other gear. And honestly, something like cordage, you're gonna use it a lot, so you're gonna probably want, pretty fast access to it. Now, the last thing I'm gonna show, and I've got a bunch of pictures out there, and I just want to point this out before I actually show this, is, again, it's a Y harness. The harness, its intent is to help carry the weight that you have down on your waistline, right? It is not designed to have 80 pounds or 100 pounds, pulling down on the strap itself, right? Again, as I said, it's not a rucksack. However, because of the loops, you can mount items to the back side of your Y harness and use it as an improvised shoulder strap system for a piece of gear. Again, that could be a bedroll, it could be a tarp, a jacket. I'm gonna use the Mother here in a second. Again, I've got a bunch of pictures showing a Mother and a G2 strung up on the back side of this. So what you would do is, so I'm facing it from the rear, I take these 2 rear straps and I just point them outwards, right? So they're away from each other. So I undid all the MOLLE on my Mother Canteen carrier, and I'm just gonna take one piece of MOLLE and I'm gonna go through the corresponding loop on the backside, right? So I just fold it. Okay, big spoon's getting all Stanley Kubrick on us. So I'm just gonna take the Y harness, try to fold it 90 degrees, off to the right or the left. I'm gonna run that piece of webbing through that rear loop. Now for this video, I'm just gonna come down through the bottom loop on the Mother Canteen carrier, snap it in place, and I'm going to come to the opposite side, take that piece of the Y harness, fold it 90 degrees out, run the MOLLE through from the Mother, through that, down through the bottom MOLLE on, and I'm using the Mother, but it could be whatever item that you have, right? Heck, it could be a 6-pack of beer with MOLLE straps on it. All right, and then you're going to adjust this because it could be on the very bottom, it could be on the very top. And at the end, what you're going to get, and this is kind of getting a little poo-pooey because there's not a lot of weight, but this is then going to come over your shoulders. Here, I'll do this in reverse for you. So you see what I'm talking about. So this is now, imagine this was on my back. These straps would be over my shoulder. This would be in the small of my back, you know, up around my shoulder blades. And again, I could adjust these to the next 2 loops up. If you put a lot of weight back here, I mean, gravity is going to do its thing and it's going to want to pull it down your backside, right? So you're just going to have to adjust the front connection points or just walk around holding your shoulder straps like this a little bit while you put it up there. But if you wanted to get something else off your waistline and if you wanted to get something up onto the small of your back, this is one of the ways that you could do it right here, right? So it's more than just a strap. You know, it's like with everything we make, we try to make it so it's got some good utility to it, and it's got a lot more functionality. You know, again, just something as small as being able to weave your webbing through there. Let me just put this off to the side, grab mine. So mine's in its basic configuration. Yeah, what I always like carrying on it. I don't have my folding saws and other things on there, but as you can see, and hopefully this comes out. So I run 2 padded strap wraps on mine. You know, and the loops on the padded strap wraps are just like the loops on the shoulder strap for the Y harness itself. So I can attach, you know, knives, folding saw, different types of items. This is actually a small little connector that I use for my phone, so I can clip my phone in there and it won't come out. It has to turn 180 degrees. But then I've got it set up and I like wearing mine closer up to the front because there's going to be more expansion in my waistline on my clothing. And I like having my straps a little bit farther forward than Big Spoon does. And then I've got my center back area always hooked up. My med pouch is holding that in place. And then I can start building my other items, you know, from rear to front that I want to carry with me, whether it's a holster for a handgun, if I'm carrying a handgun, whether it's folding saw pouches, Mother, Scout, things of that nature. Okay, I think that's the Y harness in a down and dirty. You know, as always, if you got questions, just like what prompted this, a gentleman, you know, had been reaching out recently. He's like, hey, when are you going to do that Y harness video? Well, it was super windy. We wanted to do a G2 video today showing you how to S-roll a tarp into a G2 and deploy, but we tried putting up a tarp right now, it would be like parasailing or, you know, or parachuting. It'd be all over the place. So we tucked ourselves into the woods here, and hopefully this video or the audio isn't that bad. But anyway, if you got questions or comments or you got a request, just reach out anytime, any way that you see fit. I'll do the best I can to help you out. All right, everybody, hopefully you found it educational. Wasn't as entertaining. I think I'm a little bit off my game here today because I don't think the geese are coming back, and I think I missed my window of opportunity for goose season this year. So sad little mark. All right, you guys, be good. Take care. Woo!